Nothing in this reality becomes successful without the understanding that this tool gives you. Nothing and no one. So, the heck I'm talking about. I have the series on the archeometer. The archeometer is a theorized tool that I'm going to be showing you exactly what it is. Because as of now, the couple videos and translations that we made from the book didn't really get into the tool that much. The last one that started getting into it. To be honest, that's how most books go. There's just a lot of things that are not really what you're looking for, but it has to be there to become a book. But anyhow, the main motivation behind making the series was that I had never found before a good English translation of the archeometer. We had the French original. We had one that is the one that I read in Portuguese. I think there was one in Spanish, in Italian maybe. But in English, I only had found before an academic hardcover thing where, not really accessible. So I decided, okay, if I want to share this with people that speak English only or that don't speak the other languages that well, might as well make the translations myself. So we had a couple here. You can see the last one was, a couple months ago, because I wanted to make this a little bit more professional. Have someone to actually do proper translation, not just me and ChatGPT hang in it, but it is what it is. I got some nice feedback, and I'm hoping that with this video we can kickstart it with the right foot into some cooler things that I want to do around this tool and similar things. So for starters, okay, let me explain what the archeometer is. We even have some people here asking for it. I'm gonna answer you, Samsara Samurai, Samsara Part 69. I'm gonna answer you in this video. So, the archeometer. Let me show you an image which is actually simpler than to understand. So what we have here is a measurement device. As the name suggests, we have the archeometer. So in French, it would be slightly different, the pronunciation, but we have the arc, which is the primordial, not archeo from archaeology. That's another thing that is like old or antique. No, we are talking about the primordial thing. And the meter, which is for measurement, okay? So we have the measurement of the arcs, same from arcana. See how things start to correlate. So the measurement of things. What things? Anything. We can talk numbers, we can talk letters, we can talk symbols, colors, sounds. As you can see here, when we start to decompose, and I'll get into the written text, but when we start to decompose it, basically we have, suppose we take a look at this letter right here. We have this letter. It has some numbers associated with it because there's actually a couple circles. So we have the most outer circle, which has 360 degrees. Then we have an inner circle, which also would have 360 degrees. All circles have it. But as you can see here, it has some number. So this would be 345 and this is 15. So when you sum up those, you should always get 360. You have two of those. Then you have, let's say, one letter. So the letter P or PH, which in Hebrew would be the P. That letter is then correlated with a specific symbol and another number, which is 80 in this case. That means P equals 80. It has a value, numerical value of 80. That's what the Jewish will call gematria, okay? You have that, and then you have even in the innermost circle, another letter connected to it, and a color, which is this kind of yellowish green, with the shin, the S and the SH, okay? And then again, you go most inner, you have a musical note, okay? If I'm not mistaken, this should be the sol note, or the G. And then you go inner, you have Capricorn, you go inner, you have Saturn, you go inner, you have yellow. So as you can see, you can go either from outer to inner or inner to outer. You can see red is then correlated with Venus, which is then correlated with Taurus, which is then correlated with a musical note, which I'm not going to remember right now. then G, which is Gimel, then the number 3, then Vav, and 6, and then the other part. Okay, so what the heck do I do with this? Well, for starters, you can do something really cool. For example, I just put an example on my website. Then you can type some text and then see what music would come out of it, or which notes are correlated with it. So, for example, I can put my name here, and then if I click on play, okay, I think that's enough for now. We have here the notes. So the M, the A, and the T would be he, mi, la, and then M again, O, U, R, A would be these other notes. Okay, that's a silly example, but what are other examples? Understanding this, you can understand why such cathedrals are, for example, made in such elegance. There's some examples here in the book that he goes showing you the symmetry of things and so on. So it's not just a geometrical symmetry, it's also a symbolic symmetry. Then you can understand why certain names correspond to certain energies and so on. But really, why does it work like that? Well, for starters, you need to understand that this reality has a system that it abides to. It was created from this system. This system, I'm calling it Kabbalah, not the only one, but I'm calling it Kabbalah. Other people may call it I Ching, may call it yoga, may call it whatever they want, really doesn't matter. The point is there is a system. And if you understand that, then you understand that things have success because they follow the system pretty well. They use the system pretty well. Otherwise, they just get corrupted, let's say, and don't survive. Don't get enough attention, enough energy. So the archeometer was the will of this guy, Saint-Yves, the Alvedria, whatever, I'm butchering his name. It was his will, his idea to unite all the sciences together. Okay, you can do the same with the Tree of Life, that's fine, or with the archeometer, that's also super cool. And that's what this series is all about. Trying to understand this, trying to understand the book, what was the motivation behind the guy, and then from that, who knows, maybe some other cool people want to join me in the project, even make this something physical. You know, imagine like you have a ruler, but then you have the ruler with the measurements already embedded. Because in theory, you can just know them by heart. Like I already know now that 80 is the P letter, and then 70 is the Aim, 40 is Mem, which is M, and so on and so on. So I know that by heart, but it would be cool to have like a measurement device, right? But anyways, so the archeometer then is this tool. We can find here, I'm gonna find it again on the book. Exactly, perfect. So we have here the description of the archeometer, which I'm gonna read so we know exactly what we're talking about. Oh, and by the way, I said in the beginning that I had never found an English translation. Well, guess what? After I started the series, these guys, Tradition ST, they went and actually did an English translation. I didn't read to see if it's good or not or how good it is. Doesn't matter. At least someone did it. Thanks for that. Maybe someday I'll also do one with commentary because it's really a book that is not easy to read in the sense of there's so much stuff there that is kind of unrelated. Like I just want to go and see the tool, for example, but there's a lot of political stuff in there and so on, which is also cool, but maybe it's not what you're looking for. And these guys also found something really cool, which is this other version or pre-version of the archeometer. So they go about and say that another guy, which is Papoose, the guy who actually went and published the book, because Saint-Yves never got to finish his work with the archeometer. So this Papoose guy got together with some other supposed friends of Saint-Yves. Papoose was one of them, in theory, and they kind of published the book. Okay, so these guys are claiming that there was actually another version and that Papoose may have kind of just stolen the work and kind of refurbished it and so on and so on. I don't really care. I just care about the tool. So you have that, and I actually even found the originals, like a French one, so that's really cool. You have here the Archeometer, and I mean in French, and they don't have here as well. And those guys went and translated that as well. So we have both. That's really cool. So go look for those if you're interested. There's the PDFs, and they also sell those. But yeah, so let's get into it. First, we have here the cosmological archeometer, universal regulator, measurer, and composer. Interest of metrology in the exact combination of cosmological ideas and their means of expressions, forms, numbers, colors, sounds, as well as their corresponding relationships and consequently the arts and crafts that employ them. Well, again, why music sounds good and some doesn't sound that good? Or maybe why one makes you feel happy and another makes you feel sad and so on. So that's what the tool really tries to make here. It tries to make you see why certain things are related the way they are related. Okay, because so, let's take an example, right? We see in astrology that we have opposite signs. So you have Aries and Libra, for example. Then you have Taurus and Scorpio. They are opposites, which means they are two sides of the same coin, actually. So in theory, they are the same thing, but the two opposites. It's like genders, okay? You have one gender, another gender biologically, and you have two of them which are opposites, but they are actually the same thing. They're just two extremes. In the same way, when you go and look here at the Archeometer, you can also see that, wait a second, colors also kind of have this. You have one color that if you pair with another color, both of them will contrast too much. Okay, they're gonna appear too much, and that's not exactly what you want all the time, because then it makes it harder to see maybe, or to pay attention to one of them only. It's the same with music. You have the tritones, I think they're called, which when you put them together, like it's like you have the main tone and then the tritone. You play those together, and it sounds kind of scratchy, kind of weird, because one is pulling you to one side and the other one's pulling you to the other side. So again, the tool tries to make this very explicit, and it's pretty good at that. So the archeometric planisphere, an organic, harmonic, and symmetrical instrument, is based on the combination of several concentric zones. So concentration of zones of circles, rays, and polygons that can be evoked around a central point. These zones include, number one, double circle of 360 degrees, each moving in opposite directions, so that each degree giving two numbers, their total is always 360. And their dextrogiratory or level giratory inversion allows easy metrology in both directions, meaning these two white circles here. Okay, you have the numbers, and then one of them turns, let's say, clockwise and the other counterclockwise, and there you have it. Then number two, a fixed dodecennial, so 12 zone, known as the zodiac of the modal letters. It is divided into equal parts, each of 30 degrees, subdivided into minutes and seconds. Each 12th of this zone contains at its center its morphological letter and the number of this letter in an escutcheon bearing a special color exactly corresponding to it. So again, we have this part right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have the 12 cosmological letters here, which again, which letters? Well, you have Latin, you have Hebrew, you have Arabic, you have the Vatan language, which they talk about in the Archeometer and so on and so on, which is like those symbols. And then you keep going. Total, 12 morphological letters, 12 arithmological digits, so the numbers that those letters correspond to, each special to each of them, 12 colors. Okay, Third, a mobilizable zone known as the planetary zone of letters. This is formed by 12 angles of 4 equilateral triangles intersecting regularly. Each of the 12 angles is tangent to one of the escutcheon, or whatever, how do you pronounce this, of the preceding zone and carries a morphological letter. The arithmological digit specific to that letter, the color, and so on and so on. Also a music staff and a note. So that is this part right here. Okay, so we had this, the 12 with the pink thing, and then we have the triangles. Always, again, the opposite. So the color opposite to one another, the note opposite to one another, and so on and so on. With the letters inside. And then total 12 angles, 12 letters, 12 numbers, 12 colors, 12 notes. Fourth, fixed astral zodiacal zone with its 12 signs derived from the 12 zodiacal letters. Each sign in its escutcheon shows the color of its correspondence with the above zones. So again, the astral part here with the signs. So basically we have the signs also with the corresponding colors. Oops. Then you have a mobilizable astral planetary zone with its 7 astral diatonic signs and all their correspondences, each appearing in its own diurnal and nocturnal domiciles and bearing the color of the planetary letter from which its morphology derives. Again, if you know a little bit of astrology, or if you don't, doesn't matter. Each sign is ruled by a planet according to some studies, so there you have it. You have each of them here, and also you have the color that they are associated with based on the letters. Cool. Total 12 planetary signs, of which 5 repeated equals 7 and 12 colors, because some of them repeats. As you can see here, we have the sun and the moon, then Mercury, then Venus on both sides, then Mars on both sides, then Jupiter on both sides, and Saturn on both sides. And then you have like one is active, passive, active, passive, active, passive, and then it goes. Don't remember if it's this order necessarily, but that's the idea. Then a zone of 12 angles of 4 equilateral triangles intersecting regularly under the generative and meteorological triangle, corresponding by its angles to the sign of Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus, so the earth signs. Each angle carries the color of the sign to which it corresponds. So that's the part right here with the triangles, which is this, as you can see, Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. So the 3 main colors here, the yellow, blue, and red. Then you have 12 colors, 12 angles, 4 triangles, including 1 generator, 2 hexagons or 2 pairs of equilateral tangent triangles, one of the pairs solstitial by its north-south angles, the other equinoctial, so from the equinox, by its east-west angles. All the angles of each pair distant from each other by the length of the radius of their tangent circle. Good. A lot of mathematical things. Then, a central circle containing a musical staff, a note at the common center, a morphological letter on this note, 12 white rays forming 6 white diameters, passing through the center, one north-south, the other east-west, and all at 30 degrees to each other on the circle, which is this white zone here, the center part. So again, as you can see, it's a device. You can start playing around and seeing, oh, if this letter corresponds to that thing, it means it also corresponds to that other thing, like color, note, and so on. And that's how you can build something like this cool thing that I built here. So you can just make the calculations. That's another image that we have in the book. You can actually open it because it's already here, which also shows the correspondences. So it doesn't have to be always in that circle format. It's just easier to see that way. Cool. Then we have here, the organic and harmonic planisphere has its poles and equator of correspondences, its year, its seasons, its left-right symmetry of organicities and harmonicities, direct or indirect. It speaks for itself through all its concordant elements and all their combinations. The analysis of its synthesis and the laws that govern its composition will be given after its detailed description. So basically then he'll go about and say, hey, at the north, you're going to have that many degrees. It's going to be the winter, December, January, start of time, positive year, simple yellow, letter representing blah, 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 blah. The note C. So on the 10th thing, the note C, which I think will be this one right here. Anyhow, it goes on and explaining. You can see that by yourself now if you look at the book. But I hope now it's clearer for those of you which were asking yourself, what is the archeometer? And I hope that it's clear as well that if you don't understand how reality works, well, guess what? Your reality won't work. Simple as that. You can whine about it. You can say, I don't believe in it. You can say, this doesn't work like this. Cool. Good for you. It is going to work like this. And the faster that you understand it, the faster you can play this game like it's supposed to be played. Okay? And that's an answer for you. Each one of us came with a specific way of playing it. It's just that if you don't understand, then, well, you're not going to understand. But I hope you liked this video. Let me know what you're looking for in the next archeometer videos. I'm going to try to continue reading it from where I stopped. But I was actually looking at the Gnosis version and it seemed a little bit more appealing because it goes straight into the archeometer things, basically. It doesn't go, like, if we go here, I don't know if this has the summary somewhere. But basically this like starts talking about a lot of political stuff and so on, which I don't know. I also find it cool, but I don't know how many people like this. But here it is basically more into the actual archeometer, which is also super cool. And I never read this version, so very interested. Anyways, hope you liked. If you never saw me, make sure to follow so you don't miss this and other videos. I also do other styles of videos. If you also like reading, just go follow me on Twitter. Post a lot of stuff there all the time. And yes, I self-like because this is an act of self-love, you know? Also sometimes it makes the numerology cooler. See? Now we have 312. Or we could have 311. Doesn't matter. Anyways, so yeah. Hoped you're answered. I'm gonna link the video here for you, bro. And see you next.